Good morning. Big Joe here, along with Jeff Rickard from the Morning Show. And we just wanted to make sure that you know to rise and shine with our new FM frequencies, only on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan. We're already moved in. Come on over and have a listen.
Next guest was incredibly impressed with the use of a word that included back-to-back U's, because there are not a lot of words that do that. Stephen Holder of The Athletic stops by now. You can tell he got the walk-up music going on there. Stephen, have you researched how many words there are, in fact, in the English language that actually employ back-to-back U's?
No, but as a very accomplished wordsmith, you know I'm interested in this subject, and I will tell you, okay, to sort of burnish my credentials here, I am the second grade spelling bee champion at Miami Lakes Elementary. So,
yeah, boy.
You know,
I like
I'm
it.
top of my collar right now.
I like it.
Yeah, man.
What was the word that got you? So, what was the word that?
I know who you're dealing with.
No, what now though? I got to know what was the word that separated you from first place.
Dude, I don't know. It was like 35 years ago. I don't know.
Ask Joe. Joe, you remember the losses more than the wins, don't you?
Yeah, you remember the losses.
I just figured that'd be burnished in your forehead. That would be a word that you would never again forget how to spell.
Nah, you know what? It's just been too long, man. It's been too long. And to be honest, it was one of those things like I came back to my classroom and I told my teacher what happened. I said, I got a second. She gave me a big hug. And I was like, yeah, but so what? And I didn't think it was a big deal, but apparently she did. So when she made a big deal of it, then I sort of made a mental note, and I said, well, maybe I can get a new pair of shoes or something out of this for my parents, right? So, I mean, I use it to my advantage. That's why I remember it, you know? It was basically, what can I get out of this?
So, where are you on the Andrew Luck coming back continuum?
Yeah, look, I'll be honest. I don't know about anything that Frank Reich said yesterday, but I will tell you this. I didn't expect him to practice this week. I think that sucker's going to be back on Monday, next Monday. That's what I think. Now, I'm not basing that on something someone told me now. Okay, I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to say that. But I think if you take a preponderance of evidence, Frank Reich, who never, ties himself down to dates and never boxes himself in. He's very careful about that for the most part, right? He himself said, we need to know by next Monday. We need to make a decision by then if he's going to practice. Why would he do that? Right? I mean, I think there's been a plan all along to give him as much time as possible, and that was the drop-dead date. So is it a conspiracy theory? I don't know. It's just more of a conclusion I've made just based on observation. So I don't think it's, sort of a loony theory. I just think that's the way I think it's going to go based on what I see. Am I right? We'll see. But I think it makes a lot of sense. I think that still gives him 2 weeks, and I think that's enough time. Look, it's not ideal, but I think it gives him enough time to do what he needs to do. So that's where I'm at with it. So I don't know if that helps.
Okay, so what would be the benefit in practicing next week? With it being short and have just, the game coming up, is
right.
it, I guess just having him back, right?
Yeah, exactly. And it's more a matter of him, being able to just get the reps and for the coaches as well to see him do it, right? I mean, they need to evaluate him, right, and see where he's at and have some comfort in their own minds. Because I think there's two issues right now, okay? There's Andrew Luck's peace of mind, which is clearly not at a good place, because if it were, I think he probably would be out there. I mean, Andrew Luck, as Frank Reich has said, he's driving the bus here, right? They are listening to him, and he's listening to his body. So Andrew Luck does not have a complete peace of mind yet about where he's at. But on the other hand, you have the coaching staff who very much wants him to play, and I think is hoping that he does play, expects that he plays, but they also need to see him do it. They haven't seen him except for 3 days in training camp. So they don't have a basis for where Andrew Luck's at in terms of his game right now, right? And so they need to see that, and they just need to see him out there throwing the ball in a semi-realistic situation. I know it's a controlled environment in practice, but it's the best you're going to get. They need to see that. They're not going to get preseason. So if I want to sleep at night, if I'm Frank Reich, I need to see him do it. Now, again, it is a short week next week. He won't get much. There'll be a couple of practices, a couple of walkthroughs, and then they go to Cincinnati, probably off Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So it's not much. but it's all they got.
Stephen, hard, real question. Like, honest to goodness, at the end of the day, while we're all stressing about this and everything else, as Colts fans or people who cover the Colts and for Colts fans, do we want 80% healthy Andrew Luck, or do we want fully healthy Jacoby Brissett? I think I know what my answer is.
Yeah, I want 80% Andrew Luck. I'll tell you why. Listen, Jacoby Brissett, I think he played great the other night. Okay, let's establish that. Jacoby Brissett was locked in, and he made a couple throws that honestly I haven't seen him make before. That touchdown to Ebron, I mean, it was a phenomenal throw. Okay, it didn't look like much because maybe it wasn't a 40, 50-yard touchdown, but that's a tough throw. Got two defenders. He throws the ball where only Ebron can get to it. That's the kind of touch pass I want to see more of from Jacoby Brissett. Now, that being said, Andrew Luck just has an uncanny ability to make those kinds of throws no matter what. And I think even at less than 100%, that is the kind of thing that makes Andrew Luck great, is his ability to do those things routinely. For Jacoby Brissett, those things are sort of out of the norm. Now, that doesn't mean – that's not a knock on Jacoby Brissett. That just makes him sort of an average quarterback, because he is, right? I mean, he's an average quarterback as far as the NFL goes, which is good enough if you've got a good team. But he's not an elite quarterback who can make elite throws routinely. Andrew Luck can do that. And so I think when we're talking about a lower body injury, he's still got the ability to make those kinds of throws that we have seen him make over the years. I would say I want Andrew Luck at less than 100% because we've seen him at less than 100%, and it's been pretty effective, to be completely honest. So I'm good with it.
What about how comfortable would you feel in Jacoby Brissett with Paris Campbell versus an Andrew Luck and Paris Campbell? Having a full offensive line back together, last year's offensive line, if everybody's not back. I think that there's a lot to do with that, too, that would make you feel more comfortable to have an Andrew back there.
Yeah, well, I do expect there to be a full offensive line unless somebody gets mixed up on Saturday night. So that's the key. The key is to come out of this game healthy. That offensive line right now, it's intact. They didn't have Quentin Nelson the other night, but Quentin, I talked to him yesterday. Quentin's going to be fine. I think he's going to play Saturday night, I believe. So if he's out there, they have their full line, and that's a huge benefit for Jacoby Brissett because, I mean, you can't even evaluate or can't even compare what he did in 2017 with the line that he had then, right? Because it's, I mean, what was that line compared to this line, right? What was the difference? I mean, it's immeasurable. You can't even begin to establish how different that was. So I think Jacoby Brissett would have a much more, a much different experience, put it that way, this time around. However, the thing is, I still think you can have Jacoby Brissett play a good football game and still have a tough go of it, going on the road, going up against Phillip Rivers. I think they can win the game with Jacoby Brissett. I don't doubt that they can do that. It's just going to be tougher. That's all I'm saying. I think it's going to be tougher to win with him. So I just know that Andrew Luck's been there. He's done it. He's proven it. And I just think that's what you want to go with 10 times out of 10.
We've not talked a whole lot of defense, obviously, with Andrew being at the front of this thing and then all the running backs that we're bringing in and whatnot. But the steadying force on this team may be that defense at this point. Do you like everything that you've seen, or there's some areas of concern that you have?
So I would say I actually really like the defense. My areas of concern, believe it or not, are on offense. And I'll tell you what they are in a second. But I think on defense, that's where the depth is on this team. You look at that defensive line, and I did a roster projection the other day, Monday. It's on theathletic.com. And in that roster projection, I had a tough time on that defensive line. I wanted to keep like 11 guys. It was like, you can't do that, right? I think I went with 9. Jihad Ward was the one I kept struggling with, and he would have been number 10. But, you know, there's some injuries on offense, so I factored those in. And when you have those injuries, you have to kind of make moves in accordance with that, and sometimes those cost you roster spots, right? So that's kind of what I was doing with. But the point is, the defensive line is really deep. At linebacker, put it this way, the guys who made the team last year as backups at linebacker at final cuts, I don't know that they're making it this year, okay, because Okiriki, Ed Speed, those two guys are making this team. So that your top 4 right now Well, 4 of your top 5 at least are Darius Leonard, Anthony Walker, Ed Speed, Bobby Okereke. Those are 4 good players. So I just think that is a deeper spot. And then in the secondary, man, let me tell you, I mean, they just cut Derek Kindred the other day, who's a guy who 2 years ago was like a 14-game starter for the Cleveland Browns. Now, I get it. It was the Cleveland Browns 2 years ago. But my point is, this is a team that I think about that same time 2 years ago could never have afforded to do that, right? And so within 2 years, they have overhauled the secondary. They get cornerback. There's guys there who, I mean, this kid, Marvell Tell, they drafted in the 5th round. I don't think there's room for him right now. Okay, so I'm just telling you, I think the defense is where the depth is. The defense is, I'm not going to say it's going to drive the train, but it may happen some Sundays this year. That may, in fact, happen. If they have a couple more games like they did in Jacksonville last year, it's going to have to, but I think they're capable of it this year. So I really love the defense. I talked about weak spots on offense. I'll tell you what they are for me. It's the offensive line depth is yuck. I don't like it. So if they get an injury on the offensive line, they're going to be in bad shape. I mean, I just don't know what they do at tackle.
Joe's coming back.
What's that?
Joe's coming back.
That's no answer.
Oh, then they're really in trouble.
Double yuck.
So, that's one thing. And then I just the other thing would just be, wide receiver. If Paris Campbell's not out there, and every day that passes, we're getting closer to that reality that Paris Campbell may miss some time in the regular season. That group is not as I don't feel as great about that group. I mean, it's fine. It's fine. It's totally fine. But I don't think it's as much of a big strength as I thought it was going to be, at least coming out of the gate.
All right, talk about the fact that The Athletic is over 600,000 subscribers nationally right now, which is a big deal. They're on pace to go up to 1 million by the end of the year. Here's my problem. I'm looking at the article. I read the original article in Bloomberg this morning, but now I see that The Athletic HQ has put its own spin on that, and they've got that out, and they got a picture of guys writing in the press box. I don't see you or Kiefer on there. What's up with that?
Man, it's so hard to get respect,
Some of that.
It's like, what do I got to do? How many subscriptions do I got to bring in? Come on, give me some respect. They did quote me, not The Athletic, but Bloomberg did quote me.
I saw that
in the story.
Yeah.
And so I was kind of like, dude, you had me on the phone for 45 minutes. One quote, come on. I do that to people all the time, so I can't say that.
I was just impressed that you were in there, and then I read the quote, and I was like, "That's it? That's all they got from him? That was it?"
We talked for at least 30 minutes. I was like, "Dude, I gave you some good stuff. Come on, man."
All right, we got to run, man. We'll talk to you soon.
All right, fellas.
There you go. You can find Stephen Holder at theathletic.com. Go check it out.
Good stuff.
It's true. I forgot. They did quote him in there, but it was like, okay.
That happens all the time. I've done hour-long interviews for books and things like that, and come to find out that there's like eight words used. It's like, okay, whatever.
Just going to leave that one right there, Joe. I'm not gonna...
Must have been a waste of both of our time.
This Sports Center update on 93.5 and 107.5 The Fan is presented by Big O Tires, the team you trust.
You were providing context, Joe.
Yeah, I think I was blabbing on and on. Probably didn't go anywhere to what they wanted.
Never happens.
Because you got constraints. That's the great thing about radio. There's just time constraint. There's not word constraint.
We'll get back to you on that. All right.